My name's Clavis 7. I'm an artist from Wolverhampton, born in Congo, rapper, singer-songwriter as well.
What inspired
Sorry?
you to get into music and what artists are you inspired by?
What inspired me to get into music? Do you know what? Music's one of them things which I always say, like, it's one of those things where like no one had to tell me to do it. I just did it. Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
So I've always been like musically inclined or just creatively inclined since I was like young. And I think it was always like I was naturally drawn to it. And so I can't sometimes pinpoint the time where I'm just like, oh, I like music here. It's just one of those things that I just naturally gravitated towards without anyone telling me to do it. In terms of some of the artists that had inspired me like throughout my whole life, oh, okay, cool. So I've got a few. I say some of the artists that have inspired me. I say Stormzy is a good inspiration of mine. Kendrick Lamar. Um, I'd say Little Sims, massive inspiration of mine as well. Yeah, Little Sims. Um, who else? Labyrinth. Labyrinth.
He is sick.
Yeah, Labyrinth. And so yeah, I've got a couple more. Like I could actually give you like a crazy long list, but
Yeah.
these are some of the people that really like stood out to me. Rich 32 actually, he's been a massive inspiration to. I don't know why I always forget him when he's like one of the main people. But Rich 32, he's one of the people that really inspired me within like, especially as a rapper as well, just pushing the boundaries of like what it means to like weave words together and actually say something with meaning. Um, but yeah, just growing up as well, I just grew up on a lot of like grime when I was younger. You know, my older brother used to rap and he used to have like his own group and that. And so I grew up like back in the like grime days, like the Chip, Criminal, Channel AKA Channel U days. So like I'm
Mm.
very like seasoned with regards to like I was born at a time where UK music was at a very early stage. And I was a young boy, but I've seen the evolution of UK music. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that's a
Yeah, because I
long-winded
was gonna
answer.
ask you, like, born in Congo, raised in Wolverhampton, how do you think your upbringing like shaped your influences in music and the sort of sounds and instrumentation you use?
But that's a good question. To be honest, like being from Congo, like a lot of Congolese people, like Congolese, well, music in Congo is a very like it's a very big culture. Do you know what I mean? With regards to a lot of the music that we listen to, the tribal music as well, a lot of the folk music as well, and even like artists like Fali Pupa, um, Seben, Rumba, all of these things, like you realize that a lot of Congolese people were very naturally inclined to music. So maybe that plays a massive part in it. And I think even in like a lot of Congolese music, I think the level of vulnerability that they show as well within their music as well kind of helped me become like the artist I am today. And so like being African as well, like and being Congolese, I was able to always like have that natural just instinct for music. Do you know what I mean? And so that's very much shaped. So it's a bit weird coming from Congo and coming to the UK and seeing a whole different music culture, but it allowed me to really approach my music completely different.
All right, talk me through your discography. So your first album and masterpiece, what influenced you at that time? What sort of message did you want to send with that start debut album?
So mad. Like, do you know what? Like I haven't even listened to that in such a long time. So that was actually an EP, like my first EP, master's piece. And what kind of I think for me, I was at a very early stage in my career, and um, I can't lie to you, I forgot a lot about that EP as a whole. But like, just kind of remembering what I was kind of feeling when I was releasing it. I think it was me really trying to tap into my musicality. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of different sounds, like piano sounds, and I think it's me trying to really experiment, from the singing to the rapping and instrumentation. And I think I really wanted to be at a point where I really want to tell amazing stories and kind of tell stories about myself, tell stories about other people, and that kind of led into my second project kind of thing a lot more. But a master's piece I can't lie, like I forgot so much about like that just hit, like you really done your research.
No, I didn't like.
But I think tracklist for tracklist of what in the tracklist, like starting from like Wise Man, Smart Man, I think that song, for example, really highlighted a lot of the experiences that I've kind of been through, like growing up in Wolverhampton. Do you know what I mean? I think it being the tale of the wise man and the smart man, it's like the 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 smart man makes mistakes and learns from his mistakes, and the wise man learns from the smart man's mistakes and doesn't make them at all.
Mm.
I've kind of found myself growing up being the smart man, not the wise man. And so almost using my life experiences to almost talk to other people and turn them into the wise man. Do you know what I mean? So they can learn from some of my mistakes and probably never made them as well. And so that's where it kind of all started. I remember like doing like a live Insta because that was released around lockdown actually.
Mm.
And I did literally like a whole like listening party on live as well. So that was like that EP is attached to so many memories.
Okay.
And I really didn't even want to, I can't like, yeah, it's attached to so many memories. And I really didn't even want to release an EP around that time. But my producers were like, yo, bro, like, man, I've got to like release an EP or something. So I think that was really what made people kind of aware about me as an artist, actually.
Mm. Because I was
So
gonna ask you, like, from the starting track, obviously Wise Man, Smart Man, and then also the track like 365, there's so many there are different sounds, different genres. How do you approach
really,
different
yeah.
genres as a musician?
By listening to a lot of music, do you know what I mean? I think for me, I listen to so much. I'm not monolithic in the way I think, the way I approach music. And I'm not so narrow-minded. Like I'll listen to anything. I'll listen to like from street rap to like, yo, to like indie pop. Do you know what I mean? Because it really broadens your sound palette a
Mhm.
lot more. And so even around that time with 365, for example, so that one was really dedicated to my baby sister.
Yeah.
Uh because that's the time where she was really young around that time. And I think that was the most freshest idea of a baby that I had ever had. Do you know what I mean? And just kind of getting to know her and stuff like that. So I think 365, but that was very much inspired by like an Afro swing sound that was very much kind of popular around those days as well, around that time as well.
Yeah.
And so it's all of these things that kind of made a massive influence. So we've got like 365 to Wise Man, Smart Man to Fragile, for example. Fragile is like, I think Fragile, there's a lot of songs on like a master's piece that I'm like, oh my God, I cringe out
Really?
completely. I honestly, I just cringe out. But there's certain songs to me from that tape, that I think are just completely timeless to me, like Fragile, for example. I think that really highlighted a lot of like how a lot of us men feel. And I love how like a lot of the men them feel, man. Like we usually feel like we sometimes a lot of us are very fragile on the inside, um, and we don't even realize it. And so we just find ourselves like projecting on a day-to-day basis. And so for me, that song was a super important song. So I really experimented, even like when we go to like the last track, I think was AO. That was me kind of tapping into a lot more. So AO, that's actually a phrase in my language. So I'm a Congolese from DR Congo, from Lubumbashi specifically. You probably don't even know a lot what I'm saying, but I'm giving you geography lesson,
Yeah.
geography, history, either one. And I'm from a tribe called Mulubakats, and so we speak a certain language. Our language is called Kiluba. So yeah, our language is called Kiluba from the tribe that I'm from, and so AO was like me being able to like use like Afrobeat to kind of express where I'm from as well, and using our African, our tribal phrases as well from where we come from as well. And so that was very personal to me. I think the idea I kind of realized of like, yo, people who are not from where I'm from being able to sing these words or being able to, rap these lyrics that they probably don't even understand, but are from my tribe. Like that meant something to me. So that's I believe, although a lot of the tape I don't really like cringe out, I think that really started a lot for me to be able to be like, okay, cool. I wanna actually like embrace a lot of these sounds and develop them a lot more to, where I am today. That's a long-winded answer.
No, that's really interesting. Moving on to your second project, Seven's Deadly Sins.
Yeah.
How did you approach that one?
Oh, oh, oh. Um, damn. Yeah, I like that one to be honest. Seven's Deadly Sins. I think the way I approached that one was being able to again illustrate stories, not just my story, but other people's stories. So I think I was listening to it the other day in a long time. I haven't listened to it in a while, but I listened to it on my God brother the other day, and there was a start. the first song, Prelude, um, there was a specific line I said in there. So I said, "These are tales and anecdotes of sinful man and broken souls." And so the whole tape is like it's like a theater play kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? Me creating different stories. I think like what makes there's not much that makes there's not a lot of difference, I think, from us to like movie directors. I think sometimes the stories don't need to be exactly true, but they can be stories that still get to the point. Do you know what I mean? And so with that, I just wanted to kind of humanize these things that we call sins. Do you know what I mean? Where people think these sins are like the craziest things or whatever, but it's just like day-to-day things that we kind of do and day-to-day things that we struggle with and showing that, yo, we're all human kind of thing. And so that's how I kind of started talking about and kind of finding a way to contextualize all these, seven deadly sins like pride, greed. How do you contextualize them in terms of, real things? People think that to be prideful, you need to be like, yo, the most egotistical person like walking around with like, your face on your t-shirt or something. No, but I think the way I described it in Pride was like sometimes we have pride in the relationships and the romantic relationships that we get into. Do you know what I mean? Where sometimes you fail to say sorry, sometimes you fail to apologize, and that's pride. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, greed as well. Greed, especially like growing up on Wolves, like being from the streets as well. It's just like there's a lot that you see with regards to like, yo, when money is like the center of everything, sometimes you end up doing the maddest things for it. Do you know what I mean? Gluttony. I think Gluttony was the hardest song to kind of write because I was just like, how am I going to talk about food? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, but the way I kind of thought about it, I was just like, I thought Gluttony was more um I kind of started writing about substance abuse because that's a way of consuming substances, and sometimes your gluttony can make you end up taking a lot of substances and you can end up losing yourself within that, and it's something that I do, a lot of people do, and kind of bringing it down to earth. And so that tape was like very important. The production, I really pushed myself with regards to the production, the writing and everything. Looking back at it, there's a lot of things I would change. This version of me would change a lot right now, but I think it was great for what it was, and we did a release party for it as well. And
Yeah.
so yeah.
Yeah, it is a fascinating concept, I'm going to be honest, and I think you executed it very well. But moving on to
Appreciate it.
the next project, so Care Package Volume 2 Winter Collection, how did you approach that? What were your influences at the time?
Oh my days. Do you know what? With Care Package, I think I've very much like shifted it into a completely not a new sound, but what I would say is like you see a lot of the projects that I've done, like Seven Deadly Sins, a master's piece, that kind of helped me to create the care packages because I started like widening my sound palette and started developing certain songs. Like there were certain songs that I did and certain sounds that I tapped into that I never explored. And then I decided to kind of explore that. So for example, a lot of like, the UK sounds that are kind of used now, that kind of was inspired from Envy in Seven's Deadly really exploited that. So it's just like a lot of these specific songs from these projects were like the nucleus, and then the wholesale kind of grew in the end. So Care Package Running to Winter Connection, I was just like, it's very much a playlist of just like feel good songs as well. Do you know what I mean? And I kind of wanted to do that because sometimes like in this music industry, people be thinking that, yo, you can't make slaps. And I was just like, I've got the slaps in the tuck. Do you know what I mean? And so it was just like a good playlist of just like feel good songs as well. What I think key songs for me that I think like very much got slept on was like To Yourself, big
Mhm.
tune that got slept on.
Yeah.
And I think Care Package Volume 2 was a good reintroduction of Clavis 7 as well. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Of who I am today. I think the version I am today. I started doing music when I was 2019 and been doing it for 7 years. But I think the best way to reintroduce myself was with Care Package Volume 2. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you as well, you have many talents from rapping, songwriting, producing, playing instruments. If you could only do one for the rest of your life, which one would you choose?
That is so difficult. If I could only do one,
Yeah.
I don't know why you do this to me, man. Do you know what? Funnily enough, so one thing that I do that obviously I don't know, I don't really like talk about too much, but I'm actually a visual artist as well.
Mhm.
So I like paint and like draw and like do like 3D design and stuff and animation and like just computer graphics. I think
Yeah.
that's one that I would keep
Okay.
just because like visual story. I think visual storytelling is something that really like inspires me, and it's something that's just so eternal and so, you know, even if I ever lose my vocal cords, at
Mm,
least I can paint something.
that
At
is
least
so,
I can be able to still create stories through that. Do
yeah.
you know what I mean? So yeah.
So fascinating how you picked one that's like not known about you too much. It's not like not the most popular thing about you. It's more like,
Nice, not it's not. Did you know what? Did you know what? Soon come. A lot of people like when I get to the point where I start really, because I want to get to the point. Yeah, I've got so many plans, but I'm just like step by step. But till people actually start seeing my, but yeah, I've literally studied like fine art actually, and
yeah,
I did fine art for my A levels as well. So fine art is something I've always done. So visual art, because I'm a visual person, so visual art is something that kind of helps me, especially like when I'm even creating music as well, because I sometimes have to see things in pictures, see things in colors. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
For it to affect how I approach the music as well.
yeah. And even from like a backstage, like more like business aspect, how do you think working with 9020 has like helped you and worked with you as an artist?
Yeah, that's family. That's family right there. So 902, I'll give you a bit of a backstory on that. So yeah, I started 902 with my good friend as well. And so with that aspect, it's very much like, yo, there isn't a scene within the Midlands, do you know what I mean? With regards to things actually happening. And I realize that there's so much talent within the Midlands, and it's about shining a light on that. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah,
so I'm of the business of, yo, the Midlands has got something here, and all people lack is a platform. And so that's been a massive thing as well, like putting on these events as well, because it's not just about me, but it's about the ecosystem. Do you know what I mean? The people like you, for example, who are like presenters, radio presenters, and all of that. Like, I recently found out about you, but I was just like, oh my God, how haven't I known about her for all these years? Like, you
yeah,
commented on my TikTok, for example, look into you, and I'm like, oh my gosh, she's from ends. Do you know what I mean? But it's just like, how haven't I known about it? So I think with 902, it was about doing things for the culture and really building that ecosystem from where we're at. So that's something that I kind of enjoy a lot. And we've got a lot of plans, a lot of events, a lot of productions on the way as well. And it's a lot of hard work. It is hard work, but nothing, nothing like everything. Success doesn't come easy, do you know what I mean? And you
yeah.
gotta kind of put in that work. And it's something I'm kind of happy to do as well, because when I kind of see the final product of how it actually affects people, I'm just like, yo, all that stress was worth it. Do you know what I mean? So yeah.
Yeah, no, it is like really exciting what you guys are doing with the events and everything. And I think it's so important when there's so many events in London, there's so many events in Manchester. And it is true, the music scene in Birmingham, the talent's here, but I feel like the visibility isn't here as much. So it's nice to kind of
That's
bring everybody together.
100%. Are you gonna be attending the phase and flows?
Yes, I am. Catch me there. So also, your first
Obviously.
release of 2025, you released at West Side Story. What else can we look forward to as audiences from you this year?
Man, so we have West Side Story. After West Side Story, it was 7 p.m. in Wolverhampton. Then Motion. After Motion, we had Aura. And you guys can look out for Solace, which is out next Friday, 4th of July. So
Yeah.
Solace is the next release for me, featuring Lahlia, my good friend Lahlia Cole, produced by Rian Banger. And yeah, man, that one's that one's proper anticipated. So I'm really looking forward to that to come out. So I'm really kind of really building up and in the rollout for like my mixtape release this year, actually. I think I've done a project almost every year, in it. Almost every year. Damn. Anyways, so I've got my mixtape release this year called If I Don't Laugh, I'll Cry. And that's coming out November 7th. And so all of these releases are kind of in the build up for that. So one thing that like everyone can kind of guarantee, what's guaranteed for me is music will always be there. Do you know what I mean? And I'm just planning to, yeah, you guys are gonna get sick of me, man. You're always gonna see me in your faces. So from February, the moment I released it from February, I was like, yeah, it's long, man. You're like always gonna see me. So
Mhm.
the tape is coming out November 7th. And so yeah, me and the team, we're just working right now. We're kind of building it and fleshing it out. And it's getting very stacked at the moment. And so it's just about us kind of getting to the stage where we're kind of condensing it now.
Yeah. That's good though. That's how it should be. Like, give the audiences what they want, always be out there. That's how you build up the success.
Absolutely. That's the main thing, man. That's the main thing. Just continuously be in people's faces. So yeah, look out for the release, but definitely look out for Solace. That's out next week, man.
Okay, so we have some
Awful
like good
stuff.
understanding of you as an artist, like your musical background. These are questions I like to ask everyone. I think you can always ask about music. Sometimes I like to get to know the person, like the person behind the music, the personality. Okay, rapid,
All
quick
right.
fire questions. I hope you prepared your answers.
I'm gonna try. Let's
Okay,
go.
number one. If you were a boxer, what would your ring walk song be?
Um, um, Power by Kanye West.
Oh, that is a good one. Gets you ready for a fight,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
hypes you
You can
up
imagine it.
pre-game. Yeah. If you
Very
were in a
good.
food fight, what would your food of choice be?
What would my food of choice be if I go into a food fight?
Yeah.
Ooh, fufu.
Okay.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I get my traditional one. Yeah, that's it. That one there, that's definitely causing damage. Trust me. And I
Love
got a
it.
throw on me. I got a throw on me. So if that hits you, like it will, like I promise you, it'll hurt.
A weapon. Love it.
Yeah,
Okay,
yes.
if you
Of
could
mass
commit,
destruction. Yeah,
yeah, if you could commit a crime and not go to prison, what crime would you commit?
that is crazy. Uh, if I could commit a crime, definitely robbing a bank.
That's what I always say. I feel like that's like money heist.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I would definitely, and I'd definitely, yeah, definitely. Like, I'd rob a bank, definitely the government, because they'd be robbing us anyway. So, you know,
Yes.
tit for tat.
Yeah, exactly. If capitalism didn't exist, what would you do for a living?
Sounds great. I'd probably do music.
That's fair.
I probably definitely do music because it's just like, yeah, I'll probably just walk around with like a flute or guitar or something
That's good though,
and
because
just
it shows that you actually have a passion for it.
yeah, 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 definitely, because that's what would genuinely make me happy, just making music, releasing music, all of that. So I think music actually, definitely.
Love it. What childhood movie shaped you as a kid?
Oh my days. I feel like the whatever answer I'm gonna give now, I'm gonna regret it.
Okay. Just give like whatever's come to your head first.
I'm gonna say one, but it's definitely a lie. I'm gonna say Home Alone.
Okay. Why do you feel like that
Home
shaped
Alone.
you?
Um, because a part of me, like I'm a middle child, and a part of me kind of always growing up, sometimes I kind of always felt like I kind of relate to him in a
Mhm.
sense. But like I always used to get into like mad trouble and all of that. And it was always like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, he's done this again, he's done this again. And
Mhm.
so every time I kind of grew up a bit I felt like I was always misunderstood.
Mhm.
And so when I watched Home Alone and like the main character, I completely understood him. I was just like, yeah, I feel like that. Like I wish sometimes my family would just I get lost and I just have everything to myself and I just be alone sometimes. And I can't, yeah, this is so dark now, but I kind
Yeah.
of relate to him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, but that's why I love these questions because they're so surface level, but you find out so much about who people are if you like really analyze their answers. And that's why I love it. It's like
100.
kind of psychology.
Yeah, 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 crazy.
Last question, top five albums of all time.
You're an awful person. Um, I would say, oh, God, no particular order.
No particular order.
Okay. I'd say Growing Over Life by Retro 82.
Mhm.
The Greatest Showman soundtrack.
Mm,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I would say Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers by Kendrick Lamar.
okay.
Album called Transition of Marley by Marley Music.
Mhm.
I promise you, listen to that album, no skips.
Okay.
And number five for me would have to be um Sometimes I Might Be Introvert by Lil Sims. There we go.
Oh, perfect. Good top five. Love it.
Good selection. And
Yeah, good selection.
there we go. It may change though as well. So yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that's the thing with music, it's always evolving. What you might like now might change, but it's good to know like what sort of sounds you're listening to, what are your top fives.
100%. I'd say an honorable mention for me would be College Dropout by Kanye
Hmm.
West. he's a bit tapped now, but yeah,
He would be in my
he's a good
top five.
genius.
That
Yeah.
album would be in my top five, I can't lie. That's a great album.
Yeah, yeah, I would, yeah. I'd probably swap out. Yeah, I'd say that. But yeah, of
Thank you so much for being with me today. Thank you so much.
course.